Lift your eyes, leading beyond what you can see. When the visible world gets too loud. Some mornings begin before your body is fully awake. You sit at an early morning desk with a cooling mug, a screen full of demands, and a mind that is already sprinting ahead of your soul. Messages wait. Decisions stack up. Deadlines lean in. The day has not even found its stride. And yet the pressure is already trying to tell you what matters most. That is where 2 Corinthians 4:18 meets you with uncommon clarity. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Paul is not asking you to pretend the pressure is not there. He is teaching you how to keep pressure from becoming your point of reference. The visible world is real, but it is not the deepest layer of reality. There is a life with God that runs underneath the surface of your schedule, your stress, your conversations, and your responsibilities. Most leaders do not lose their footing all at once. They lose it inch by inch as the visible becomes the only thing they trust. A delayed answer starts to feel final. A tense meeting starts to feel defining. An unfinished goal starts to feel like a statement about who they are. The soul narrows. Vision shrinks. The horizon pulls in close. You were not made to steer your life by whatever is nearest. What you can count is not all that counts. What you can count is not all that counts. That line matters because leadership trains you to pay attention to what can be measured. You track income, expenses, time, growth, performance, output, and response. Those things have value. They help you lead wisely. They help you make honest decisions. But they cannot tell the whole truth about your life, your calling, or your future. When visible results become your only source of confidence, your inner world starts rising and falling with every report. Paul pulls you back to a larger horizon. What is in front of you right now is passing. That includes the pressure that feels relentless and the success that feels reassuring. A difficult season will not last forever. Neither will applause. Neither will momentum. Neither will the opinions of people who do not carry your assignment. Temporary things can be loud, but they are still temporary. This is where the navigation picture becomes useful. A captain pays attention to waves, currents, and weather. But those conditions do not replace the compass. They affect the trip, but they do not set the destination. In the same way, circumstances deserve attention, but they should not be allowed to choose your direction. If your heart keeps taking orders from every visible change around you, you will spend your days correcting course in panic. But when Christ holds your bearings, you can move with steadiness even when the water is unsettled. Many faith-based leaders are not collapsing from laziness. They are worn down by overreading the surface. They are taking every metric too personally, every delay too spiritually, every setback too permanently. And in that state, they begin to forget that God often does His best work where the eye cannot yet trace it. The hidden work God is doing in your life. Some of the holiest work in your life will happen in places no one claps for. God works in the hidden chambers of a person. He shapes patience where irritation used to rule. He forms courage where fear used to make every decision. He deepens trust where control used to sit with a clenched jaw. He teaches surrender in the quiet places where no audience is watching and no achievement can distract you from what is really going on inside. That kind of growth is easy to miss because it does not arrive with headlines. Still, It is real. It is lasting. It matters. This is especially important when you feel discouraged by what you cannot see. Sometimes the emotional ache is not just pressure. Sometimes it is the loneliness of not having clear proof that God is moving. You pray and do not yet see the answer. You keep showing up and do not yet see the fruit. You try to lead with integrity and wonder whether anyone notices the cost. That ache is real. It can make a leader feel tired in a way that sleep does not fix. Yet the absence of immediate proof is not the absence of God. Just as you do not see the wind itself, but you do see what it moves. You may not see all that God is doing right now, even while His hand is shaping your life in ways that will become clearer later. This changes relationships too. Under strain, it is easy to reduce people to what they are doing on the surface. A distracted spouse becomes a frustration. A guarded team member becomes a problem. A demanding client becomes a burden. But eternal vision invites you to slow down and remember that every person carries more than what they show in a given moment. The person across from you may be carrying grief, fear, disappointment, shame, or fatigue they have not found words for yet. When you lead and love from that awareness, your tone softens without losing truth. Your patience grows stronger, not weaker. Lift your eyes before your circumstances lower your heart. Decision fatigue and the fight to stay eternally focused. Now bring this into a modern moment you know well. It is still early. The desk lamp throws a small circle of light across your notebook. Your calendar is open. Your inbox is already tugging at your attention. A decision that should feel simple somehow feels heavy. You have looked at it from every angle, but your mind is crowded and your spirit feels thin. One more choice, one more answer, one more thing needing clarity from you before the day has fully begun. That is decision fatigue, and it does more than drain mental energy. It can quietly pull your soul off course. When too many visible demands flood your field of vision, your inner life starts reacting instead of discerning. You stop asking what is faithful and start asking what will quiet the noise fastest. You stop listening deeply and start reaching for relief. In moments like that, fixing your eyes on what is unseen becomes deeply practical. It means you pause before you answer. You breathe before you speak. You refuse to let urgency climb into the captain's chair. For some leaders, the next faithful step is not dramatic. It is closing the laptop for 2 minutes and saying, "Jesus, I need your mind before I use mine again." It is opening scripture before opening the next message. It is asking, what choice lines up with truth, not just speed? It is refusing to let an anxious moment become a reckless one. This is how eternal focus works in daily life. It does not always change the situation immediately, but it changes the spirit in which you meet it. The unseen life with God does not remove hard choices. It steadies the hands that make them. Leading a business without letting metrics become your master. Business has a way of training leaders to live at the surface. Numbers matter. Cash matters. Staffing matters. Delivery matters. None of that is optional. But if you lead only by what appears on the sheet, you will slowly trade depth for noise. You can hit goals and still become brittle. You can stay productive and still lose tenderness. You can make progress in public and quietly drift in private. That is why eternal focus matters in the marketplace. It keeps results from becoming your identity and hardship from becoming your prophecy. A strong month cannot tell you who you are. A weak month cannot tell you who you are either. Your worth is not hidden inside a graph. Your calling is not secured by momentum. Your peace is not supposed to depend on whether this week was easier to explain than the last one. A leader following Jesus must learn how to read a dashboard without kneeling before it. That takes maturity. It takes the kind of inner alignment that lets you make sober decisions while keeping your soul free. You can watch expenses carefully, have honest conversations, protect margins, and pursue growth without turning business pressure into a private religion. In fact, some of the clearest evidence that Jesus is shaping your leadership is that you begin to hold visible results with open hands rather than white-knuckled fear. Ask a better question in your work. Not only, how is the business doing, but also, what is this season doing in me? That question keeps leadership human. It keeps it honest. It reminds you that God is not only interested in the thing you are building, He is also invested in the person you are becoming while you build it. Where faith and work meet in the middle of real pressure. Faith and work come together in the place where attention gets decided. That is where the real struggle lives, not in the big statements you believe, not in the values you would gladly say out loud. The real struggle lives in the ordinary moments when pressure rises and you choose what will guide you. Will you let the latest problem set your direction, or will you take your bearings from what God says is true? This is deeply personal because real life keeps crowding the deck. Family concerns, team dynamics, unanswered prayers, delayed outcomes, physical fatigue, and the quiet ache of carrying more than most people see can all make a leader feel like they are drifting. But Jesus keeps inviting you back to a truer north. He reminds you that your identity is not trapped inside this week's outcomes. Your purpose is not threatened by every delay. Your future is not at the mercy of every wave that hits the side of the boat. So start there today. Before the rush fully takes over, notice what has been holding your gaze. Name the thing that has been pulling your heart out of line. Bring it into the light of prayer with plain words, not polished ones. Read a portion of Scripture before you let the day narrate itself to you. Walk into one conversation with more curiosity than defensiveness. Make one decision from trust instead of fear. Small acts of reorientation matter because they teach your soul how to travel in the right direction. This is how mature leadership grows, not by escaping pressure, but by learning to keep a steady heading while pressure is still present. You do the work in front of you. You serve the people entrusted to you. You face facts with honesty. But you stop letting whatever is visible at the moment decide what is most true. You lead from a deeper place. You lead from the quiet confidence that God is present in what you cannot yet fully see. And that His unseen work is often the work that lasts the longest. Choose your heading before the day chooses it for you.